It's the spooky time now, yay. Yay. Was it not the spooky time before? I could have sworn it was the spooky time before, but now it's officially spooky time, so in the spirit of the spooky time, I'm gonna talk about spooks. Now, not all the entries on this list are from my childhood, and not all of them are traumas. Wait, what? Well, it is still a list of stuff that has scared me, but most of it is still from many years ago, but some of it is from like recently, because I think there's some stuff recently that I think is worth talking about. And because I don't really get scared all that often, well, now I don't, and like, I feel like if something did scare me in recent times, then it's probably worth talking about and worth explaining. So, yeah. Alright, so first on the chopping block, Robot Chicken. Yes, this scared me as a kid. So for those who don't know, Robot Chicken is a show about a chicken that's also a robot. And the question on everyone's mind, how did this chicken become a robot? Well, just like Danny Phantom, the chicken's origin story is explained in the show's opening intro. This evil scientist named Seth Green found a dead chicken on the side of the road and then turned it into a robot. So, yeah. The scientist's face alone was enough to creep me out as a kid, but like the part where he rips out all the chicken's organs and replaces them with mechanical parts, that's probably where it got really scary. Oh yeah, I cried, by the way. That's how bad it was. We had to like cancel a sleepover because I was crying so much. My family had also misunderstood the whole reason why I was scared. They thought I was scared of the chicken specifically, but no, I'm more scared of both the scientist and what he does to the chicken. And of course, my brother, being my brother, he told me that the show was about the chicken going around killing people because he thought I was scared of the chicken. But no, I was scared of the scientist, so ha, in your face, brother. On the bright side, the chicken would later go back and exact revenge on the scientist, so that's good. Next up, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I'm honestly very surprised this show exists. I say that because there isn't one trauma attached to it, there are three! And two of them involve Santa Claus. Let's start with the not Santa one. Basically, the gist is Skull grants wishes, teleports to someone else once a wish is granted. There. So this one kid wishes for a bunny. And then it kills him. I understand it's healthy for kids to scare them every once in a while, but Jesus. As for the Santa ones, one of them involved Santa turning into a vampire, and the other involved him getting taken over by Hector Concarne. The next entry on this list is from a show that is known for being mature, but not really known for being scary. Regular Show, aka the show I always got confused for Adventure Time. Ironically, it's from an episode about Muscle Man getting traumatized. There are these things called Hugstables, and they're characters in this kids show. And every episode they kill people by hugging them to death. Seriously. These things were so creepy that they gave the Teletubbies a run for their money. In the end, they were able to extract the Hugstables from Muscle Man's mind and then beat the shit out of them, as always. But yeah, the whole hug to death thing is what got me as a kid. Some nights I would imagine a live action puppet version of these things by my bed, and they'd jump on me and hug me to death, and it would scare me. So, yeah. Let's take a break from Cartoon Network for a while. Don't worry, I'll get back to it. But, yeah, break. Next is War of the Worlds. There have been many interpretations and reimaginings of War of the Worlds. The one in particular is the 2005 movie starring a Scientologist. Basically, what happens is there's a big storm, and then these things crawl out of the ground and start zapping people. And whenever I was younger, the concept of instantly being turned to dust really freaked me out. A lot. Something that I think is one of the coolest pieces of pop culture trivia ever is how back in, I think, the 1920s, they adapted the War of the Worlds book into a radio play. Now, the play was written to sound like a news broadcast, and a lot of people who were listening to the radio missed the part about it being a play and thought it was a real news broadcast. And there was all sorts of panic and chaos and confusion. It was a whole big thing. I've recently rewatched the War of the Worlds movie, and I liked it. I didn't really like the ending. I know that's how like the book and the play ended, but I still didn't like it. And I thought the people getting incinerated did look pretty ridiculous, which is ironic because that's the part that scared me the most as a kid. Okay, now the next one is pretty unusual. And I mean that because I actually don't remember where it's from. In fact, I never knew where it was from. I never heard anything about it or saw anything about it again after, or heard or saw anything similar. I'm clueless. This thing just happened to me once. So I think this was from a movie. It looked like a movie. So what happened? There was like a garden, I think, and there was a teacher, I think, but like a Christian-y type teacher. Is that the right word? There are a bunch of kids outside in some gazebo, and there's like a teacher woman, I think. And there's this girl in the back of the air quotes class, since it's outside in a sunny garden thing, and she has like this futuristic disc thingy with holograms on it and a needle, and she's like tapping the holograms with the needle. Then the girl says something about helping people, I think, and then the teacher walks up to her and says, "No," and then takes the needle and then shoves it into the girl's forehead. And then it cuts to the girl in some futuristic room, like this Matrix style. By Matrix style, I mean like the room where they had the plugs that go into everyone's heads and everything. And then she had a plug type thing, but it was in her forehead, the same spot where the needle was stabbed. And I think all the kids from the school were like working on stuff in the background. I don't I think it feels right, but it doesn't sound right. If anyone has any information on what this could be, please leave it in the comments. I really want to know. It's been one of the biggest mysteries in my whole life. No, it hasn't. If no one finds out what it is, I will not care. You know, we haven't done Cartoon Network in a while. Adventure Time. Usually, when you hear about people being scared by Adventure Time, you think of the Lich. The Lich never scared me. All that post-apocalyptic stuff never scared me. The thing that did scare me as a kid didn't come from any of the scary episodes. And that's probably why it was so scary, because it came out of nowhere. So I don't know which episode it came from, because there's like a billion Adventure Time episodes, but I remember what happened. So basically, there's this conspiracy guy who knows Princess Bubblegum is spying on all of them, which she is, and he wants to expose her. So Peppermint Butler decides to put an end to this guy's his shenanigans. So he kidnaps the guy's kids and turns them into demons. What the fuck? Okay, moving on from that whole thing. Planet Hulk. Planet Hulk is a very underrated Marvel animated movie that I have seen like 5 times as a kid, but haven't really rewatched it recently. So what it's about is the Illuminati, and yes, that is accurate, the Illuminati decide that Hulk is a threat to Earth, and so they send him into space. But his bosses didn't like him, so they shot him into space. Get me down. Said the cheesy movies. The worst. We can't find. Oh god, doing that hurt my throat. And the movie's about Hulk trying to adjust to his new life on the alien planet, and also he's forced to fight in this battle arena thing. Remember Korg and Meek from Thor Ragnarok? You know how Meek, like, never said anything, and Korg was like an idiot goofball? Meek was very religious and saw Hulk as some prophet Jesus that would save everyone. And with Korg, all his brothers were murdered by guess who? Thor. But then they got brought back as these weird mindless zombie things, and he was forced to kill his own brothers even after thinking they were back alive again. The cartoons are better than the movies, there I said it. But the part that scared me were the spikes. The spikes were a race of these alien robot bug things that would latch onto people and turn them into these mutant zombies. And the whole thing got much worse once Hulk himself became infected. One time I was at a music festival, and it was kinda nighttime, kinda daytime, and I began imagining the spikes showing up and raining down and infecting everyone, and I actually started just crying in the middle of the crowd. Did they really have to turn them into idiots? They could have kept their basic personality traits and maybe just not gone as in detail on their backstories. I get if they didn't want to scare kids or whatever, or if they didn't have enough time in the movie, but still. I don't have a transition, so transition. Slender Man. Don't even get me started on this guy, meme, creepypasta, whatever, had me looking over my shoulder for half my childhood. Seriously, screw this guy. Transition again. While on the topic of creepypastas, let's talk about one that doesn't have any tentacles or pale skin or terrible over-obsessive fanbase at all. I am of course referring to Wally Wabbit. Now this one wasn't from my childhood, but it is quite the landmark in scaring me, and I'll explain why in a minute. So there's this guy, I don't think you've heard of him, in fact, no one has ever heard of him. His name is Liam Vickers, and he narrates creepypastas. That's all he does, that's all he ever did. He never did anything else at all. I've thought about making a video talking about him, one, maybe two, but I probably won't. But yeah, he narrates creepypastas, that's the main takeaway. So one time someone sent him this creepypasta called Wally Wabbit, and it was said that the guy in the story was like a real guy on the internet, and I was like, of course not, of course he isn't. Then I googled it, and he was. That night I had my first sleep paralysis demon, and he had buck teeth and a cotton tail. This next one is also animal related, so yeah. So there was this movie about a serial killer babysitter, and I don't remember what it's called or where to find it. So I'm just gonna put a random placeholder image on screen right now, since I don't have any images from the actual movie. I didn't actually see the movie, I only saw the trailer. And in the trailer, the babysitter is, kidnapping the children and threatening to murder them and all that. That didn't bother me. I didn't care what happened to the children. Screw the children. But there was one part in particular of the trailer where the babysitter took one of the kids' pet hamsters and put it in the cage of the pet snake, and the snake ate the hamster. That is what bothered me. Children being murdered? Nah. Oh, but a cute little innocent hamster? Now that is evil. One time I was visiting my grandma, this is still the same trauma, and she was talking about giving frogs to someone as a pet. Then she said, or maybe I should get him some snakes. And I don't know why, but the way I interpreted that was that the snakes would be pets to the frog. I know that makes no sense, but then I thought, wouldn't the snakes eat the frog? And then it all came flooding back to me. I proceeded to have a mental breakdown in front of my entire family. Not really, that was just a joke. Okay, now it's the next trauma. Five Nights at Fortnite. Wait. A fortnight is 14 days. There aren't 5 nights in 14 days, you idiot. But in all seriousness, Five Nights at Freddy's is one of those things that used to be really special, but now just doesn't work anymore. And I think it's great if you like it. That's just my opinion. Well, what happened was I saw an image of it one night, and then I had to go to the bathroom, and I was too scared. And then another time, I just kept imagining Fazbear standing in my room, and I just kept hiding under the covers with my eyes closed. And back in preschool, my brother and a lot of the older kids would make playing cards of stuff. My brother, he would like make Greek gods and everything, but the other older kids, they were making some of like FNAF characters. And of course, I was off making Bizarro and Electro and stuff, but yeah, those were the good old days. Wait, why am I talking about the good old days? This is supposed to be a trauma video. But no matter how scary FNAF was to me as a kid, it was still nowhere near as traumatizing as when I first found the SFM community. Final round. I have two more, and these are the biggest. Sanjay and Craig. Yes, this scared me. If you haven't ever seen Sanjay and Craig, then keep it that way. It's not very good. And there's an episode where they meet these guys called the Muscle Cops. They're cops, except they grow like muscles, but only one muscle on their body for some reason. So they team up with the Muscle Cops to stop their arch enemy and former ally, Gary. Notice how I didn't put a picture of Gary? That's because I'm giving you one last chance to look away before I show it. Are you ready? Here. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious why this scared me. I think I'm just gonna leave it on screen for a few more moments. Ooga booga! Ah, you just got spooked! Oh, but the saga of Muscle Gary is not over. There is so much more. In fact, it is only the beginning. Well, you see, in the episode, Gary had this catchphrase. He would say, "That's gross, yeah, gross." My brother would then proceed to repeat this phrase to me over and over again for the next 2, 3 years. A really long time. Oh, and he knew I was scared of this. That's why he was doing it. He's just a dick. Even though this trauma was kept alive by the actions of him, it doesn't really bother me anymore. I mean, with just the look of his face, and yeah, I'm not scared of it anymore. Now it's time for the last one. The last one. This one is far more terrifying than all the others before it. In fact, it's far more terrifying than anything, period. It even still haunts me till this very day. In fact, right now, if I think about it right now, I'd do something. And that's because this is Spy Kids. Wait, I can explain. I swear. Okay, if you have seen Spy Kids, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But for those who don't, in the movie there were these mutant monster things. Now, the image on screen is a human thumb, which is not the same thing I'm referring to. I'm purposefully choosing to use the wrong image because honestly, I'm too scared to look up what the actual things look like, okay? Just go look it up on your own. I'm a chicken, okay? I can't do it. Now, even though I'm choosing not to show them, it was less the way they looked that scared me, and were more the way they were made. 'Cause you see, these mutant things used to be people, but their faces were like melted down and twisted and contorted like clay. And if that isn't the most horrifying just shit on the planet, I don't know what is. This is literally nightmare incarnate. I will die before the day I admit something scarier than this. And that's the truth. Did you know? Did you know that the kid in Spy Kids was the voice of Rex in Generator Rex? I bet you didn't know that. Oh yeah, Generator Rex is also the best TV show ever made, by the way. That's not even my opinion, that's just a fact. Things are scary sometimes. It's just the way life is. We have to accept it and move on. Fear can help us learn and rediscover our humanity. I was once afraid of the dark, but one day I looked into it and didn't see anything, and realized I never would see anything. And then I never had to sleep with a nightlight again. So remember to make mistakes and get messy. I will be making a video on a certain demon-centric, hotel-centric, you get the idea. And I will also be making a more in-depth review on the Secret Saturdays, since a lot of people really like that one, so be expecting those later this month, maybe next month, or the next one. I don't know. This has been Bradworst signing off. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Kids can watch this movie. If kids can watch this movie, then I can do it. Oh my god! Oh my god! No!